Well, how is everyone doing today? Are you all wide awake? I know I am. Let me tell you, I tricked Ryan last night. I'm a bad wife, so I said, I want to make shirts, but first donuts. And he's like, okay, now it's late. It's late. It's real late. I just put the baby to bed. We're looking at about 9 o'clock. Guys, we're in bed at like 7, so 9 o'clock is like midnight to us. So anyway, so I start making these shirts, and I was like, Ryan, do you want one? He was like, yeah, I'll take one if it's not going to take long. No, quick and easy, we got it. And I was like, oh, we should make one for the kids. That would be really cool. That would be great parents. We were up until midnight, but I never told him today was daylight savings time. So when he woke up this morning, he's like, I got plenty of time, because he was looking at the wall clock that I didn't change. And then all of a sudden I was like, we gotta go. He's like, what do you mean? I got plenty of time. I was like, nah. And he's like, oh, I would never have stayed up last night with you making shirts. And I was like, I know. But we got our shirts. So anyways, we're going out to take some family pictures today. So, welcome to Forward Point. I'm glad you're here. And there are donuts out there. Did you see them? Holy cow, have a donut. They were still warm. Beautiful. Okay, so we love to have fun, don't we? We are going to play a game. Let's get this party started. Theme, thinker. Theme thinker. You're going to guess the theme based on the clues on the screen. A head start on Ryan. Ryan's not out yet, so you're good. Hey, can you turn down these lights just a little bit so they can see the screen, my friends, in the back? Elijah, thank you. All right. Okay, spiders, the dark, heights, snakes. So we're coming up with a theme. What is the theme of this? Right. Fear? Pretty good. Okay, so let's get the first one out of the way. Things people are afraid of. Things people are afraid of. So you guys got the gist of how it goes? All right, let's do the next one. Kite, time, butterfly, drone. All right, guys, you are doing so good today. I'm so proud. Can you give yourself a round of applause? Like you did it. You got that one. That was lousy, guys. That was the worst round of applause I've ever seen. Anyways, next one. Salad dressing. Hairspray. Liquid medicine. Ketchup. What is it? What'd you say? She said sticky things. It's not sticky things. Come on, guys. Salad dressing. Oh, hairspray. You know, I think this is garbage, Jimmy. Did you make this one up yourself? Because give them the answer. This is, Jimmy, did you come up with that? I don't shake my ketchup. I put it in the refrigerator upside down. So it is prepared. Right? Okay. Guys, we're just going to give that one to Jimmy. That was a mess. All right, next one. Brush your teeth. Fix your hair, try on clothes, put on makeup. Jimmy, you put on makeup? Things you do to get ready. Almost. Come on, guys. But you do it in a specific place. At a specific place. What? No, okay. In the bathroom at the sink. Almost. Mirror. Thank you. Wow, you guys almost had it. I'm really proud of you. You pulled it together. Somebody needs to feed these people some donuts. All right, I'm proud of you. Things you do in the front of a mirror. All right, ready? Chicken nuggets, pizza, mac and cheese, candy. What? Did you guys ask me if that's what I ate for breakfast? Yes. Yes, you're right. Yes, you got it. Give them the answer. You guys knew that, right? Basically what Heather eats and what children's eats. Things love to eat. All right. Spider-Man, the evil queen, Dracula, and Batman. Come on, guys. Guys. You hear those kids up there? Yeah, guys. Yeah. Okay. They Cameron. Wow. Okay, ready? Don't put it up yet. Stay in bed. Eat soup. Vomit. See a doctor. Go ahead. Put it up. What? Wait a minute. Hold on. Y'all are so loud. Y'all are just screaming like you're some animals.
Call the doctor when you're sick.
Yeah, you're sick. Call the doctor. That's it. You're sick. You got the viruses. You got the viruses. All right, things you do when you're sick. All right, let's go. Next one. Fresh bread, salad, soup, French fries. Appetizers, Sides. Who said that? Little kids upstairs. Oh, wait. Sorry, Mama Skinner. I just said little kids upstairs. Your mama sounds like a little kid. All right, yes. Things that come free with a meal. All right, ready? Here it comes. Rhinocerosauruses, raccoons, reindeers, rattlesnakes. I'm sorry. Did you say that? They start with a what? R. The word of the day is R. Letter of the day. Good job, guys. Oh, that crowd up there is rowdy. Love it. Can we get a round of applause for those kids up there shouting out those answers? Boom. That's it, kids. All right, here we go. Next one. Sit, down, fetch, bad. Oh, guys, that was good. That was good. The doggies. Sit down. That's what I say to my husband. Sit down. Bad. Just kidding. Love you. He's not out here. That's why I can say this. All right. Was that it? There's one more. This is the tiebreaker. All right. Stomach, tooth, back, head. All the things that hurt when you get old. All the things that ache. All right, you guys got it. Put the answer up. Amazing. You guys are wonderful. You guys are marvelous, stupendous, and superb. I appreciate the fact that you are here today. I appreciate the fact that you got up. I appreciate the fact that you took a shower. I appreciate the fact that you just got yourself here. Rebecca, you kind of looked a little confused when I said the shower part. You were like, well, I'm hoping. We can hope for the best. Anyways, listen, we're a community of faith, hope, love. We love that you're here. We know that God has a purpose for you. We are here to help you find that purpose. Come on now. Forward point. If you're new, text the number. We're going to send you a gift. We've been thinking about this. Gifts that we could do. Steven says he's willing to buy a house for you. Jimmy said he's willing to fix all the computers in your house for you. No, I'm just kidding. We're sending out like gift cards. That's all we're getting. So if you want to text that, you can get a gift. We are in the Bible app. Oh my gosh, guys, we are. Look at that. I tried to find it. I didn't realize you had to go to the App Store and download. What is it? Yeah, the youth version. That's right. You have the youth version, but we also have our app in the App Store where you can follow along what's going on here. And then, are you going to show us? Put the picture up, my friend. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, YouVersion, 7 tips in 7 days, 7. That's Rory's favorite number right now, my daughter. She just walks around going, 7! We'll take it. All right, I don't know what we're doing here, Jimmy, because I've never seen this before. So just look at that, and it tells you what to do and where to go. I have that in my phone. I haven't really used it yet, so don't judge me. I'll figure out what it is next week. We have a movie night coming up, and it is, what is it called, guys? Spies in Disguise. Spies in Disguise. It's good. The kids raved about it. So invite, bring friends, third Sunday or Monday of every month. We've got that going on. And then we have the family gathering. 5th Sunday of the month. That's happening the end of this month. We are going to have a potluck sign up. So you guys can go ahead and sign up for that. You know what's really funny is the potluck does have a sign up and nobody ever signs up for it. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, we're never going to have food. And then y'all just bring stuff in. Like Mama Scanner goes and bakes like the mass amount of food and everybody just brings stuff in. So, you guys are awesome. I'm excited. Sign up so I won't freak out and be like, oh my gosh, Jimmy, there's going to be no food. Easter, countdown to Easter is coming. This is love. Experience the resurrection that changes everything. Guys, I'm excited about Easter. Be a bringer. Be a bringer. Bring somebody. You know, it's kind of funny because a lot of times people are like, I don't really do church. But guess when they do church? Easter. Easter and Christmas, man. I can get just about anybody to come on Easter and Christmas. So be a bringer. And then we got a video for you. Go ahead.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, I was wondering if you'd like to join us for church on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Cool, man.
Okay, guys, I was expecting the punch. That was great. That was great. Stephen, I did not see that coming. Jimmy, there was a twist on that. Guys, you can give in person. There's a box back there. You can text it right there, 84321. Wow, that was a really unique number. And then online at forwardpoint.org. We're not expecting you to come and to give if you're new, but guess what? If you've been coming here, get your pockets and empty them. I'm just kidding. We're not like that. You're not going to see us passing a basket. You're not going to see us shaking you down for money. But guys, we put on a lot of things for a lot of people. We help a lot of people. We do the movie nights. It costs money. So those of you who came prepared to give, thank you. And then guess what? We don't have the right video for this because they didn't make a video for this. So we usually do high fives. We do low fives, we do slow fives, we do high tens. Well, today, because we keeping it clean, we're going to do elbows. Elbows. All right, the band's going to come up. Come on now.
Yeah, you're gonna be playing, and you look at me, and I'll just start at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Screw it up.
Good morning, Fort Point. How we all doing today? Yeah, come on. We're not letting any of the spring floor stop us.
my sorrow, dead in my sin, lost without hope, with no place to begin. And your love made a way to let mercy come in. When death was arrested and my life began, ash was redeemed, only beauty remains. My orphan heart is given away. My mourning grew quiet, my feet rose to dance. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Released from my chains, I'm a prisoner no more. My shame was a ransom he faithfully bore. And he canceled my debt, and he called me his friend. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins. Sing it again. Oh, your grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Savior displayed on a criminal's cross. Darkness rejoices though heaven had lost. But then Jesus arose with freedom in hand. That's when death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Oh, we're free. Well, we're free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, let me hear ya. Free, wherever, amen. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, we're free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, forever, amen. When death was arrested and my when death was arrested and my life began. When death was arrested and my life began. Isn't it so awesome? Praise the Lord. You're gonna shake off that spring forward, guys. Come on. Woo! Thank you, God. Yes.
Because of spring forward, did anyone get to see the sunrise this morning? Anyone get to see the sunrise? I don't know if you're an early bird. I've tried to become an early bird, but I get to see that sunrise this morning. And if you just think for a moment, who tells that the sun and the moon and everything just to put together? My kids were talking in the back seat of the car the other day, and they were like, man, what makes everything so blue and so amazing? That was the intelligent design by an amazing God. He spoke. He spoke a word and life began. Told oceans where to start and where to end. You set in motion time and space, but still you come and you call to me by name. Still you come and you call to me by name. If you can hold the stars in place, you can hold my heart the same. Whenever I fall away, whenever I start to break, so here I am, lifting up my heart to the one who holds the stars. Steps, the deepest depths, the darkest nights. Can't separate, can't keep me from your sight. I get so lost, forget my way, but still you love, and you don't forget my name. But still you love, but still you love. And you don't forget my name. If you can hold the stars in place, hold my heart the same. Whenever I fall away, whenever I start to break, so here I am, I'm lifting up my heart. If you can call the raging sea, hold the never too far away, never show up too late. So here I am, lifting up my heart to the one who holds the stars. Your love is called. Do I have to fear your love has called my name. What do I have to fear? What do I? Let's just sing that softly again. Your love has called my name. What do I have to fear? What do I have to fear? Your love has called my name. What do I have to fear? What do I have to fear? Your love has called my name. What do I have to fear? What do I have to fear? to the one who holds the stars, the one who holds the stars, the one who holds the stars.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, touching lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you.
kings were afraid their soldiers might die of thirst. They sought the mysterious miracle worker, hoping for help. Instead of a promise of rain, Elisha told them to make the valley full of ditches and wait. Grab your shovels and get ready to grow with ridiculous faith.
Hello, there we go. Nothing sweeter than the sound of your own voice. Good morning, Ford Point. It's so good to see you all here this morning. My name is Jimmy. I'm one of the pastors here, and it's just great to see everyone. It was a beautiful drive in this morning and then walk around the building a little earlier than I expected it to, about by 60 minutes or so. But we survived and we managed, and glad to be here with you this morning. Have you ever started something in your life thinking, this is going to be a whole lot easier than what it really turned out to be? Anybody ever found themselves jumping into something thinking, gonna nail this, I'm gonna get it done, and all of a sudden you hit kind of like a brick wall, right? Here in running, I've never actually done that myself, but in running, when you're out and you hit kind of like that runner's wall where it's like you got to break through, but if you don't, like you lose the momentum. There's all sorts of different things in life that I think about where people say, this is super easy, you're going to enjoy it, it's the best, right? Getting married, they said, right? It'd be a lot of fun. Or have a kid, they said, right? It's going to be the best thing of your life. And maybe have 4 kids, right? Oh my goodness, what were they thinking? 4 girls, nonetheless, right? Oh my goodness, this is going to be an early trip to some kind of nursing home for the dad, right? Coming into the new year 2020, I kind of had this vision for my life, and what I wanted to do as far as being healthy and the way that I was eating and the way that I was working out. And here's some of the things that I've learned, right? There's some important things that I've learned during this process as every night I prepare myself and I go to bed, and then in the morning I wake up and I weigh myself to see what kind of progress that I've made. And as I've been doing this, I've learned some ways to kind of cheat the system so I feel and get results maybe that aren't exactly accurate. But one of the biggest things that I do is when I weigh myself at night to kind of get a starting basis. I wear all my pajamas and clothes, maybe hold my phone, and that kind of gets my starting number. And then in the morning, I weigh myself absolutely naked, right? So I get as down as minus pounds as possible that I can get, and it helps to go to the bathroom as many times as you can beforehand, because I'm telling you, at this point in my life, I'm trying to claw for every single ounce that I can get to make myself feel better about this journey that I'm on of trying to feel better, right? And how do you navigate when you take that turn in these situations where you're really on fire and you're really gung-ho about, and all of a sudden you're not seeing any progress? You kind of feel like maybe you're a little stalled in your life and in this journey, in this project that you've been on. And I've been giving myself kind of all sorts of reasons as the weeks go on to have cheat meals, right? We have our Sunday morning gathering, and obviously there's donuts out there, and I always say, it's just Sunday morning church. I can have some sweets then because everybody's doing it, right? Or we have our life group on Friday nights, and people bring different things, and I think amongst other people, for the sake of the call of getting together as church family, this is a reason enough to have a cheat meal here and there. And God can use and work on my body the 5 other days of the week, but I have these, now there's youth group on Wednesday night, and we always get pizza, so I got to have a cheat meal there. And what I'm noticing is that I've kind of gotten down about 10 pounds since I started at the beginning of the year, but now I'm hovering like a little bit down one day and a little bit up the next day, as I've lost all the easy stuff, right? I've lost all the stuff that you could get sick with the flu and come out of it 10 pounds lighter, right? I did that over the course of 3 months now, the hard way, and now I'm kind of at the spot where it's like, if I don't start taking my activity to the next level, then I'm probably going to just kind of maintain this new norm that I found for my body weight. And I'm in this place where I'm just, God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to have the self-discipline? Because the further away I get, I feel like I'm having less discipline now in my life. God, could you please make this maybe just a little bit easier for me? Right? If only God could kind of wave a magic wand and kind of Weight Watcher myself. If only maybe I had $1 million, right? If only I had $1 million, and then I would, the things that we could do in ministry and life, and the starving kids in Africa, God, you could use me to feed. I'd be happy to share some of that money with them. Maybe you're here and you think, man, if only I had a husband, right? If only I had a husband, then maybe my life might be different, or it might be better, or I would be completed. Or if you're married, maybe, man, if only my husband looked more like Brad Pitt, then I'd be content and happy. And hopefully I didn't hear any amens out there. If only maybe I wasn't married anymore, right? And maybe I was free to just kind of live my own life and not be weighed down by this drag or this ball and chain. If only things would be different. They'd be so much better if I didn't have this. Or I could just wave his magic wand. Well, last week we started this series based on the life of Elisha, and it's this radical faith that Elisha exhibited. Elijah calls Elisha to leave everything, and that's what he does. He sacrifices all of his oxen. He burns up the plow. He says goodbye to mom and dad. And Stephen talked about these two main ideas out of the life of Elisha when it's time to get your call on. It's that you don't have to understand fully in life to obey immediately. When God puts something on your heart and there's a calling that he's stirring up inside, you don't always have to have the full picture or understand everything totally to be able to obey immediately. And then we looked at how God uses those people who are most used are the ones who hold on to things the least. Right? The people who hold on to this world and the things in it the least are the ones that God can say, hey, I need you to do this. And they're able to do it, to turn on a dime and be responsive to what God is leading them to do. So today what we want to do is look at Elisha, more of his life. And what I really encourage you to do is to look at the story and the things that we're going to talk about this morning through the lens of what your greatest need is this morning. When you think about for you, what is that, if only situation, think about that through this morning, this lens, because the reality is your greatest need becomes a blessing when it drives you to depend on God. Right, if there's one thing you take away out of this morning, maybe you want to jot this down, you need to tweet it or text message it to yourself. It's your greatest need, your what if, right? Your if only this morning becomes a blessing when it drives you. And sometimes that's what it feels like, is a driving to depend on God. A little background on the story that we're going to look at in Elisha's life here this morning. There were these three kings, okay? Wrong three kings. Sorry about that. There were these three kings, okay, who they joined together to take on the Moabites. They figured three are better than one. This is going to be a cakewalk battle. We're going to unite our forces together, and we're going to go attack and win the battle against these Moabites. Sounds pretty easy, right? We should be able to get this done. And when they all get there, and we're going to get her done, and we're going to be home by dinner time. But as this is the case for most of the things that we kind of go into thinking, this is going to be easy or a cakewalk, they get in and they find themselves ill-prepared. They didn't bring enough supplies for the journey, and they're lost in the desert. And they find themselves on the verge of collapse because of lack of water. Just traveling in the desert sun, being beaten down, and instead of this kind of easy win, they find themselves not even able to make it to the battlefield because they're ill-prepared and they're running out of resources, just roaming around aimlessly out of water. Talk about a significant need, right? To feel like you're about to lose even before you got into the ring, even before the battle has started, you're on the verge of collapse. And this is where, again, your greatest need becomes a blessing when it drives you to depend on God. The story continues like this in 2 Kings chapter 3. It says, so the king of Israel set out with the king of Judah and the king of Edom. after a roundabout march of 7 days, right? So they're kind of going in circles here in the desert, lost. Their GPS is broken. Siri's got them all confused. The army had no more water for themselves or for the animals with them. What, exclaimed the king of Israel, has the Lord called us 3 kings together only to deliver us into the hands of Moab? Right, isn't that the case? Sometimes we kind of find ourselves in these situations where we went into gung-ho, not even really checking with God, but now that we're in it, we're like, God, what's going on here? Well, how did you get me here? Why did you do this to me? And he's like, well, you could have checked with me to begin with, right? But you kind of did this solo. And now they're kind of pointing the fingers at God. And then Jehoshaphat asked, is there no prophet of the Lord here through whom we may inquire of the Lord? An officer of the king of Israel answered, Elisha, son of Shephat, is here. He used to pour water on the hands of Elijah. Right, that's kind of the resume that they're talking about here. We need water, and this guy used to pour water, and I mean, that sounds like the perfect guy, right? Elijah, last week we talked about how he was in the midst of this drought-filled land, and he caused the drought because the kings were not following God. And then out of nowhere, he says, okay, there's going to be this massive rainstorm, and there's just a small itty-bitty cloud that maybe the size of a fist, and out of that, Elijah brought this monsoon of a storm, right? And if that's what Elijah can do, and this is kind of Elisha's protege, and he pours water on the hands of Elijah, I mean, this guy's got to be a shoo-in for what it is we need. So Jehoshaphat said, the word of the Lord is with him. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to him, to Elisha. So these 3 kings are riding kind of high in confidence that they're going to be able to clean up house in this battle, and they run into this brick wall. They don't even make it to the battle, and they're in this desperate moment, this desperate need of water. Maybe a little too much confidence going into this. And a little bit more background. These 3 kings were in a season of their life where they were not seeking God. Right, that's why this was kind of after the moment they find themselves. Now they're kind of, God, what are you doing to us? Right, because they weren't looking to God to begin with. And now that they're in a whole lot of trouble, they did what we all tend to do, right? Is, oh yeah, God, right? I need you to kind of get me out of this. I could use a little, waving of the wand. Can you throw a brother a bone here, right? So they're asking around, is there anybody who can do this, who can kind of ask God for us? Is there anybody who's kind of on God's good list? Because we're kind of all on the naughty list here. And they can't do it themselves. They feel like they can't talk to God because of the lack of relationship that they've had up to this point. Is there someone, there's got to be someone who can maybe do a little rain dance for us, right? And get some rainage going on here. Oh yeah, there's Elisha. He's got water on his resume. He's the top of his game right now. He's coming off the most valuable prophet year. All the miracles that he was doing just a year after having been anointed by Elijah. He split the Jordan River. He spoke to this polluted lake. Think of like Onondaga Lake, right? Who wants to go to Onondaga Lake and go swimming? Anybody here, right? You go in there and you kind of come out with a third arm or something, right? And he has a lake like that, and he speaks to it, and it's magically cleaned up, and they're able to drink from the water. These are the kind of things that Elisha is doing, and it's drawing fame and recognition. And they'd say, Elisha, we need you to get us out of this, Elisha. And what's Elisha's response? This is funny, guys. He gets a little sassy, all right? Elisha, maybe attitude is a better word. I have a bunch of girls on my house, and they all get sassy. They don't have attitude. It's sass, because when it's sass, it's cute. When it's attitude, they get in trouble. So they said they're being sassy. And that's what Elijah does, is he gets a little sassy here. And he says, let me get this straight. Guys, kings, you want to ignore God and kind of do this on your own. And then when it starts to go south and it starts to get a little tough and it starts to get hard, now all of a sudden you're looking for God. Am I getting this right? Is this what's going on? Right? Listen to how he says it himself. Elijah said to the king of Israel, Why do you want to involve me? Right, go to the prophets of your father and the prophets of your mother, right? You know it's bad when a prophet starts saying mama jokes, right? Go to your mama, right? No, the king of Israel answered, because it was the Lord who called us 3 kings together to deliver us into the hands of Moab. So Elisha said, as surely as the Lord Almighty lives, whom I serve, right? Kind of notice the little dig he's saying there. One of us here is serving the Lord, and it's not you guys, right? The one I serve, maybe you've heard his name before. If I did not have respect for the presence of Jehoshaphat, one of the kings there, the king of Judah, I wouldn't even pay attention to you guys. Right? I would have put up the close sign on the front door, not open for business. But because Jehoshaphat at one time kind of had a relationship with God, then I'm going to let you guys come in. We can talk. Right? Talk about some sass. This is my kind of guy, right? This is like living with 5 girls. That's what this is. But you got to ask, where did Elisha get this sass from, right? Where the crazy, he got it from Elijah, his mentor, right? And when Elijah kind of passed down his mantle to Elisha, he asked, Elisha, ask for anything, and God's going to give it to you, right? So he says, all right, I want a double portion of everything that you have, of the anointing that you have. And that's exactly what God gives him through Elijah. Now, if you remember Elijah, he's pretty famous for the sacrifice at Mount Carmel, right? He gathered up all the false prophets of Baal, and he said, hey, we're going to have a showdown here. We're going to gather, and we're going to have these 2 altars and these 2 sacrifices, and whichever God consumes their sacrifice with fire, that's going to be the God we serve. So if your God does it and mine doesn't, then we'll all stop serving God and we'll serve Baal. But if my God does it and yours doesn't, then we're going to have a purge fest here, and we're all going to start serving God. So in the midst of this, as they cut the sacrifice and they got the altar going, all of these prophets of Baal are cutting themselves, and they're trying to do a fire dance. And while they're doing this and nothing's happening, Elijah says, hey, maybe you guys need to scream a little louder. Maybe your God's deaf. Right? Maybe he can't hear you. Maybe his hearing aid's not turned up. Maybe your God is on a vacation. Maybe he kind of got tired, and it's, he only gets a couple of weeks of paid vacation, and he's out at the happiest place on earth taking pictures with Mickey. Maybe he's on vacation. Or you know what, guys? Maybe a little louder, because maybe your God's in the bathroom. Right? Maybe your God's in the bathroom, and he had some crazy lasagna last night, so he's got the water up, he's got the fan turned on, he doesn't want anybody hearing what's going on in there. Maybe your God's taking a leak, right? Now, that taking a leak part's not in the Bible. That's in the new Jimmy version, okay? The new Jimmy version, but that's some sass, right? That's the sass that Elijah has. So Elisha gets this kind of double portion of sass. And that's what we see here. We see this double portion of sass that's going on. And I think it's the same thing that happens with each kid. The more kids you have, the sass kind of multiplies exponentially, right? So here's the deal. If it wasn't for Jehoshaphat, I probably wouldn't even be here, but here's what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to need some things first. If we're going to make this happen, if this is going to work, then I'm going to need some action on your part. Here's the first thing. I need you to get me a harpist. All right, if you want me to prophesy for you guys, then I'm going to need some mood music.
There's all kinds of music. Fast and loud, soft and slow.
Right now, Elisha's a little sassy and needy.
Rhythm and blues. But baby, you know which one I choose.
Some mood music. I've worked with a lot of different concert promotion, and we'd have these riders of things we'd have to do for people. And some of the riders that we got were some of the artists wanted green M&Ms. Right? They just didn't want M&Ms, they needed green M&Ms, right? Talk about being needy, right? Elisha here, he's showing a little neediness in his life. But the reality is music, it can help us connect with God and in a way that few other things can, right? And maybe you've experienced this in the past, or maybe even this morning you feel like, man, there was something that happened when the beat dropped, right? And then you felt this connection with God. So they get it for Elisha. They get this harp, and they're doing these things, and they're in this bind. They don't have much of a choice. We got to do what we got to do. So he says, bring me a harp. So they get it for Elisha. And if this is as bad as it's going to get, right, we just got a little humiliation to say, okay, Elisha, we'll do this for you. And, you got to pay the harpist his harp fee, whatever that is. This is a small price to pay so Elisha can get us out of this predicament. If this is the worst that we got to do, then I think we're getting off pretty good here. But then it happened. When the musician played his mood music and the hand of the Lord came upon him, and he said this, speaking of Elisha, he said, "Thus says the Lord, make this valley full of ditches." Wait, what? This isn't what we paid for, right? Is there a return policy here? Because we're kind of looking for a little, monsoon kind of singing in the rain where we're frolicking because of the amount of precipitation going on in the air. But what you're saying is you want my troops who are kind of on the verge of collapse, on the verge of dying because of exhaustion and dehydration, and you want them to now do some physical labor? I don't think this is going to work, Elisha. Yes, that's exactly what God said. I didn't say it. I just speak for God. This is what God says. And what we're going to see is how our greatest need, and in this moment of their greatest need where they're on the verge of dying, can become their greatest blessing if they let it drive them to depend on God. For thus says the Lord, you shall not see wind, nor shall you see rain, yet that valley shall be filled with water, so that you, your cattle, and your animals may drink. And this is a simple matter in the sight of the Lord, right? God can do anything. You guys are having a conniption about how God's going to do it, but God can do anything. And not only is he going to do that for you, he's also going to deliver the Moabites into your hand. But first, I want you to dig some ditches. Or how do we develop a faith that works, a radical faith like we see in the life of Elisha? Now, a faith that works is not just a faith that's not broken, right? Just kind of we're limping along, and hopefully at the right times we can trust on God when we need to. But it's one that can trust God to do what he said that he's going to do, even when things aren't lining up the way that we thought they're supposed to. Even when there's not any clouds in the sky where it looks like there's even a chance of rain, that we can still trust God that he's going to do what he said he was going to do. But we're going to need to dig some ditches. Developing a faith that works, if you're taking notes, the first thing I would encourage you to write down is only God can send the rain. But sometimes he wants you to dig a ditch. Only God can send the water, but sometimes he wants you to dig a ditch. And don't think for a second that the God of the universe needs you to dig a ditch. Right? The plans of heaven and of eternity all rely upon you doing this one action, digging the ditch. He could just take his hand and kind of scrape through the ground and have all sorts of ditches, or just maybe snap his finger, or a little, I Dream a Genie nose twitch, and boom, there would be ditches. He created all the lakes and then the oceans. He doesn't need us to dig the ditches. God didn't need them. But instead, it's almost as if he was saying, you want to show me your faith, and then I will show you my faithfulness. Right? In James, the brother of Jesus, he says this, just as the body is dead without breath, so also faith is dead without good works. God responds to faith. Over and over again, we see in the New Testament how Jesus responded to people that he saw with faith. And how do you see someone's faith? Is there some? It's not like there's a smoke that kind of rises up out of them, or they glow a special color that oh, they're full of faith. No, James says it's good works, right? You see their faith in action. Peter out on the boat, right? He said, Jesus, if this is you, call me out onto the water to come to you. And Jesus does, and Peter gets out of the boat and he starts walking. His faith. Right? The other 11, you don't see them getting out of the boat. But Peter had faith. How many miracles maybe are we missing out on because there isn't someone who's participating in with Jesus and digging a ditch? There was the guy who had a withered hand in the New Testament, and Jesus didn't say, boom, you're healed. He said, stretch out your hand. Right? There's a part of the story that the man has to demonstrate that he's on board with. And as he's stretching out his hand, then the healing takes place. I believe that I can heal you, but I want to see that you believe that I can heal you. Again, Jesus could have just waved his, spirit fingers over it and boom, it'd be done. But he tells the guy to stretch out his hand in faith. There was the guy who was blind, right? And Jesus says, come over here, and he takes dirt and he spits in it, right? And he allows Jesus to put that in his eyes, right? It's nasty, right? It's nasty. And that takes a level of faith, especially it would happen today in the coronavirus scare, right? Nobody would be, I'll be blind, right? I'm okay with that. But then he says, go and wash your eyes out in faith. And that's what he does, and the guy's healed. And there's the guy who was paralyzed, and he says, get up, take your mat. I'm not going to come over and lift you up. You want healing? Let me see your faith and get up and walk. Because God always can send, he's the only one who can send the water. But sometimes he wants you to dig a ditch. You show me your faith, and I will show you my faithfulness. Because without faith, it is impossible to please God. There are a whole lot of Christians sitting around waiting for God to show his faithfulness, and they aren't showing any kind of faith. Right? You may want to quit smoking, right? So maybe as you leave today, you just got to take your pack that you just bought on the way here and you throw it out. The full thing, right? Have some faith. You want a God-honoring relationship, or maybe you need to move out and live with a friend until you're ready and you get married and you do things the way that God designed. Maybe you want to get out of debt and you have to cut up all the credit cards in an act of faith to say, I'm not going to continue the same things that got me here. But by faith, I'm going to trust God. At a time when I need to have as much money as I can to pay off these bills, I'm going to start to honor God first with my money, and I'm going to give to him first. But it doesn't make sense, right? How can you be in a position where you're in debt and you need as much money as you can to give the first of it away to God? But those who have been long practicing the art of sacrificially giving to God recognize this principle, that God can do way more in your life with 90% than you can with 100%. You want to see healing in a relationship, then maybe you need to dig a ditch. Maybe you need to forgive the other person before they even ask for forgiveness. But as an act of faith, believing, God, I'm going to dig the ditch. And I've seen so many parents, right, who they want more than anything for their kids to grow up loving and committed to God. But then they don't make getting together with other families a priority, and they don't make reading the Bible or praying with their kids a priority. And I'm just hoping, I'm just praying that God will do it in their life. Right? God, would you do something? Why not? Start digging a ditch. I know a lot of single guys, right? They think, man, I want a wife. I want to be in a relationship, and God, would you just send me a wife? And all while they're sitting at home, right? They're living with mom, expecting some kind of smoking hot babe to show up at their front door holding a Bible and saying, take me to church or lose me forever, right? God is looking at you and he's saying, brush your teeth. Try ironing a shirt. Maybe go sell your Xbox. Move out of your mom's basement. Get a full-time job. Ask someone out. Buy some flowers. Start digging a ditch. Because only God can send the babe, okay? But you got to brush your teeth. I have this friend who's been a good friend of mine since my days at Bible school, and he's kind of a generation older than me, maybe about 15 years or so. And then after Bible school, we moved in together into an apartment, and he's always been active, playing sports and hardworking, and he's talked about regularly wanting to be in a relationship. And it doesn't make any sense because he's the kind of guy who just, he's, you know, attractive, I guess. I don't know. I'm not attracted, but I would imagine. And just good looking and athletic and nice, sweet, always thinking of other people first. But he never asked anybody out. So I told him, Shannon is his name. I said, you've got 8 weeks to do this. You got 2 months, okay? You got 60 days to ask somebody out, to just dig a ditch. And if you don't do it, then on Elisha week 2, when I'm preaching, you're going to be a sermon illustration. And he's a sermon illustration because he did not dig a ditch, right? Shannon, you should have dug your ditch. So if you're wondering what he looks like, this is Shannon. I don't know if there's any single ladies here in the house. You might want to help faithfully Shannon here dig a ditch. He wouldn't give me a picture, so I had to steal one from his Facebook account. All you had to do was dig a ditch, right? And you wouldn't be a sermon illustration. Ladies, again, if you're single, hit me up. I'll give you his digits. And I'll give you guys both a shovel, and we'll see what God does with the ditches, okay? Only God can send the water. But sometimes he wants you to dig a ditch. Developing a faith that works. Number 2, real faith believes big, but is willing to start small. We get a picture for big sometimes in our life, right? That, man, I'm going to be in this beach bod and be able to wear my 2-piece, right? I'm not talking about myself. Mine's a 1-piece. And then it doesn't happen, or we hit the wall, and man, it must not have been God, right? But we serve a God who wants to do exceedingly more than what we could ever ask or imagine, but he wants to do it through people who show themselves faithful. However long that it takes, right? Because how do you dig a ditch? That's hard work. It takes some time. And I am not prone towards physical labor, okay? That's hard. How do they build those pyramids, right? A bunch of guys, just one little brick at a time, and they got these big, huge pyramids. Or it was the aliens. I don't know. We'll never know. But you start small. Rome wasn't built or defeated in a day. We've been doing this forward point thing here at the Palace Theater, for almost 4 years, right, Stephen? And it's not because we thought, man, there needed to be another church, another corner with a church on it, right? Because we got plenty of those. But because we believe that, there are people who God wants to capture their hearts, and would do that by some people who moved into the neighborhood and just started to be God's hands and feet right to their neighbors, right to their community. And then the Skinners have been doing this even longer than us, as they were a part of it before it was Forward Point, and they just faithfully served and played the music and watched the kids for years. 7, 8, 9 years you guys would play? Katrina's a saint, right? She doesn't even really feel called to kids ministry, but she, for the last almost decade, every week has faithfully just been serving in kids ministry. Not because she, went to school for kids ministry and that's her calling. She feels that she has a calling to pray for people and to see deliverance. But there was a need, and she just started digging this ditch. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't align up with what I want, but she's just been sowing into this ministry, digging a ditch. Everything about them, if you know them, you know is big, right? They own half of Eastwood, okay? Let's be honest. They're the kingpins of the underground world here in Eastwood. But they're not beneath faithfully just serving kids every week and playing the guitar to a room full of a handful of people. Because they knew if we just dig the ditch, God's going to bring the water in his time. But we're going to start small. We believe for huge numbers, but it's going to be on God's timing. And they didn't let that keep them from starting small. And then Forward Point, as it began, it moved into this theater, and you think, what are the ways that we can use this building for the community more than just Sunday mornings? How can we allow it to be a blessing to the community? We said, well, let's make movie nights, right? That's where the Free Family Movie Nights came to be. We just wanted an opportunity to let this be a blessing. And we started off with this, small group. We never promoted it because of our licensing. We can't advertise it. We just shared it amongst our people, and they shared it, and gradually it's grown to the first one being, just a little itty bitty thing in a small team, to now there's last one. If you can see, you turn the lights off. The room was packed, right? We had to turn people away at the door because there was no more seats left. Just because a team decided, 3 years ago when we did the first one, we're gonna dig some ditches. We're gonna believe God for this massive vision, but we're not gonna be afraid to start small and see what God does with it. Dig a ditch. Don't be afraid to start small. And we're entering one of the most spiritual times of the year, right? The snow is melting and the grass is growing, and we're starting to recognize that there's houses in the streets across from us. And people are going to start to be drawn towards participating in this resurrection of Jesus and Easter. And we want to go beyond just giving people a holiday to participate in, but we want to invite them to be part of a family. And if you were here for the welcome this morning, you already saw the theme for our Easter gathering. But we're starting now to talk about this a month in advance. This is going to be the new norm around here, is we're going to be challenging people to be a bringer. Right? There's somebody in your life that that God wants to work in their life. And it could be a matter of just inviting them. We're going to be challenging every week, be a bringer. We're going to be doing a direct mailer to about 2,500 people in our community, inviting them to our Easter gathering. There's going to be some invite cards that we're going to have here, hopefully in the next couple weeks, that you can use. We're pulling out all the punches for Easter this year because we believe that God wants to do something in the lives of the people around us. We're going to be doing social media campaigns. We're going to be inviting all the people who have come to our family movie nights. Right, we're digging the ditch. Only God can bring people. But we're going to do our part. And one day, Forward Point, there may be somebody who has a story similar to this one because of the invite that you give.
Totally last minute. You guys look great. Okay. I just want to read something to you really quick, just to kind of put things into perspective, okay? Richard and Ashley, I just want to let you know how grateful I am that you invited me to join you for a weekend service at Champion Center all those years ago. For so many years, I was afraid of God. I felt like I was disappointing him with my decisions in life, and I was too far gone to be restored. But you assured me that wasn't the case. When I came to Champion Center, I learned about the depth of his grace, and I was reintroduced to a God that loved me despite my flaws. I finally realized that I was perfectly loved and accepted just as I was, and my heart felt peace. I went from lost and hurting to found and free. I stayed planted. I found my husband at church. I got married in this church. And now I have 2 little boys that love this house. And it's all because you extended the invite when I needed it the most. Now I can't imagine navigating through life without the support of my church family. This place is home, and I owe a large part of that to you. All my love and appreciation, Corey Ann.
There's a reason that I didn't read it.
We're believing big here at Ford Point. Right, this is not our church or something that we made, but this is what we're believing for Ford Point, is that there's going to be people whose lives are changed because of the invite that you give. I want Ford Point to grow and be filled because I want there to be bunches of single people who are here who find other single people who love Jesus, right? Because I'm tired of just a handful of single people, and they're like, God, I want you to do something. I'm like, I want there to be other God-loving single people here too. And I want to have marriages, and I want to have baby dedications. And I want to see a neighborhood and a community transformed for Jesus. That's the big that we're believing for, but we're not afraid to just start small and dig our ditch. And that's what we're doing. God has something for you personally to start digging a ditch for in your life. But I believe he also has something for you within Ford Point to start digging a ditch and start believing and stepping out in. Something like what we can, can only be accomplished by people who are choosing to step out of their comfort zone and be a part. And to step out and serve. And we have a vision for people that they would experience from the moment they get here, from the moment their car is even close, just a community of people who are so passionate about the fact that they're here and excited that they would just feel the love of God even from within their car, and they haven't gotten out yet. They think we're a bunch of crazies because we just take the love of Jesus to a whole nother level for them. And right now at Ford Point, we can't do everything that we want to do. But we want to invite you to start digging a ditch with us. The next morning, about the time for offering the sacrifice, there it was. Water flowing from the direction of Edom, and the land was filled with water. Because only God can bring the water. But he needs you to dig a ditch. Have a vision for something bigger, but don't be afraid to start smaller. And it can be that in your moment of greatest need and biggest setback, that can be a blessing when you allow it to drive you into your relationship with God. So I'm going to ask you, we have this number up here all the time. If you would join us, if you say, I want to be a part of what's going on at Ford Point. Again, we're going to pray in a minute for all of us that whatever God's stirring up in your heart, that he would do. But if you want to join Ford Point, if there's an opportunity that you have to get involved with what we're doing here on Sunday mornings, we would love to see you be a part of this. And if you just text the word dig to the number you see up there all the time, then we'll get back to you and reach out to you and start to join forces. But we're believing for God for big things here in Syracuse this morning. Will you join me as we close in prayer? God, we thank you so much that even from a story that's thousands and thousands of years old, we can see these principles that you designed for us. That as we get ourselves into these situations where in our excitement we just went and maybe didn't count the cost or looked to you first, but now in the midst of it we're kind of desperate. God, for each and every story represented here of just seeing their if only story. If only this would change, if only this were different. God, as you're just beginning to bring to heart and to mind each and every story for each and every individual, God, we're praying that you would help us to be a people of ridiculous faith. That even in the midst of our greatest need, we would allow that to press us into your heart and to say, we can't see the cloud. The land around us is dry, but we're going to dig the ditch. Because we're going to trust you. Or we're going to go down trying. And God, that we would be a people that step into this new level of relationship with you where we're living out of radical faith. Not only for what you want to do in our hearts and in our own lives, but what you want to do in and through us to the community around us. God, I pray for every single person in this story and then this vision for what they hope it one day could be, but have lost sight of that. That one day being out of debt or one day being back in a relationship that is honoring you and full of life and like we're in the honeymoon stage. God, that you would help them to not be afraid to start small. To throw out the cigarettes, to cut up the credit cards, to spend less than we make. God, we want to honor you and we want to follow you. God, we pray for this season. We pray for Easter that, God, you would just, in our community, begin to draw hearts to yourself. That people would come into an encounter with the love of Jesus that would change their life. God, a love so powerful that it would alter the very direction and course. God, we're trusting you, we're believing for you in all these things. We love you. In your name we pray. Amen. Forward Point, we love you. If you didn't get a highlighter donut out there on your way in, or if you did, I'm sure there's still some left over. Grab another one, because I don't want to have to see any when I walk out and be tempted. Take them all. But we love you. If you need prayer for anything, if there's something specific you're going through, we'd love to be a part of that story. We'll be here, and we'd love to pray for you. Otherwise, God bless you, and we'll see you next week as we continue on.